And the game begins with the flying V. And our Terran player in the bottom right is Special! AKA Major, the Mexican pro gamer from Ocean Gaming. Man, I love this dude and I'm excited to see him play, especially because it is versus Stephano! The legendary Zerg champ himself from France, playing for Gamers Origin. And our TVZ today is going to be a best of 3. Naturally, I've got my predictions in a sealed envelope, and you should feel free to do the same. Zerg is queuing up an awful lot of minerals, which means we're going to have a hatch first, whereas Special is going for a barracks and some gas. Nothing out of the ordinary so far, no sign of cheddar, and no scouting either. Triton is a 2-player map, and our players know exactly where their opponent is by default. No military units to speak of in the first minute. Everybody's making their worker counts climb. Zerg is now going to add their first gas and a spawning pool. Let me sneak an easy prediction in. Every time I watch Special these days, he's always going for reactored Hellions. That's not a huge shocker in today's meta, but I'm expecting a big commitment to Hellions, not the contain your opponent at the border of their creep Hellions, but the it's barbecue time baby Hellions. Special likes to trade Hellions for drones, and he's very good at it. Stephano has top-notch defense with his queens, and that's why I think we're in for a really good game. So permit me to have a moment of envy as Terran busts out the world's biggest satellite dish. I bet they get a lot of channels on that thing. Somebody should tell them they can just stream Netflix now. But despite my waxing on about Hellions, Special has brought a Reaper expand build, and that Reaper pops out and begins his solo mission. The Overlord will definitely spot it. That Reaper is not making a beeline for the Zerg base. It looks like he's checking for proxies and other shenanigans. Always a wise move, but since there's nothing there, it's just giving Stephano more time to get his queens in place. Meanwhile, the factory nears completion, no doubt for the aforementioned Hellions. And what's the Reaper doing there? It looks like he was doing a little floss dance or something like that. He totally got busted dancing, so now he's like heading over to the Zerg base. Oh yeah, I'm off to scout, I swear. Speaking of dancing, it is the timeless reactor swap, a true dance of classical beauty. And the Hellions are in production, but so is Ling's speed. Reaper gets spotted again as he approaches the Zerg base. The Queen is there to greet him and zones him out. He'll see the timing on that third. Zerg with just a slight worker lead. Stephano doesn't exactly have a lot of Lings ready to use that speed, though. Fortunately, the Queens are having no trouble dealing with that Reaper. He is not finding an opening up the ramp, but he drops a KD-8 charge to throw that Queen back. Stephano's hiding a Ling in the bottom left, but there's no sign of what he's doing with it yet. The Reaper links up with the Hellions. Oh, but he's also just invested in a Banshee with Cloak. Stephano's going to need to see that. He's only got 3 queens and 4 lings at this point, one of which is on the wrong side of the map. And just as I say that, an Overlord goes in. These guys know their timing so well. Watch that Marine pop out and make sure Stephano pays full price for that scouting intel. Oh! The ramp is open! The queen's just a bit too far to one side. Terran goes in. Special fights his way around the lings and goes for the drones. It's barbecue time. He gets behind the mineral line. Stephano has the drone pulled, but he uses a couple to pin him in the back so the queens can get shots off. Special blasts his way out of the trap. Oh, triple barbecue. It's 8 kills for 2 Hellions, and that Overlord has died back in the Terran base. But that does get us our first blood. And it looks like it was a decent exchange for Special. If we do a quick check, we're going to find that Stephano lost 700 resources to Terran's 300. But you could easily argue it wasn't good enough. Stephano leads by a dozen drones. Or he did until Special's Banshee showed up. Stephano makes spores instantly. The Banshee pulls back with only 2 kills, but Cloak finishes. He comes right back in, this time invisible. The Queens cannot stop him until that spore finishes. It's drone slaughtering time. 5 kills. 6 kills. And he pulls out as that spore completes. Even though he forced out 3 spores and grabbed 6 drones, I'm not sure you can say Special really got his value for his Banshee and his Cloak. But since he kept it alive, there's still a lot of damage he can do with them throughout the game. I know I'd love it if he repaired that Banshee. That's something that you just don't see enough of. Our 2 players are almost identical in supply, and they're identical on upgrades, which is to say nobody has any at the moment. Special has stopped applying pressure. He's headed back to his base. Ah, we do have the repair. Oh, Special's going to spot that Zergling scout, and the Hellions are going to make quick work of that. And the Roach Warren finishes. Whereupon Stephano immediately starts ranged attack level 1. It looks like we might be seeing roaches. Stephano's almost gone 6 minutes without having to make any serious investment in his army so far. Special is going to need to do something about that, and it looks like he is. The Hellions are coming back up on the right-hand side. He stops just out. Oh! Hellbat transformation. Clearly my idle youth spent playing with Transformers was not in vain. I've got the sound effect down. Queens move to intercept. The Hellbats say, yes, please. There's a huge round of roaches on the way, but they're not here yet. Hellbats advancing for the drones. The roaches are here. The Hellbats turn back to fight the roaches. Oh no, they don't want to do that. They want to get the drones. Stephano sees an escape route, but the Hellbats slam the door. It's a 5-alarm fire. Miraculously, those drones survive. I don't know how. Stephano has managed to clean that up with only 2 drones lost. Unbelievable. Stephano not only leads on drones, he leads on army size. He's way ahead in supply. If Stephano knows it, he's going to think about a counterattack. Nope, it looks like his roaches are going to take up a defensive position. Correction, the swarm is advancing. Looks like a couple of creep tumors are in the way, so the roaches are going to break down the rocks. Oh, I see Ravagers. And he's morphing an Overseer, and the Queens are coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a timing attack. Stephano is committing to a big strike. Banshee should be perfect to harass the roaches, but with the Queens and the Overseer, that's not going to happen. Special does have 2 tanks, but I bet he'd feel a lot more comfortable if he had way more. Zerg has reached the backdoor rocks. They won't hold long with the Ravagers. And he's even brought his creep all the way up for mobility. Special is busily trying to fly his barracks back. It looks like he's going to try to wall off. Somehow he's got to protect that 3rd. The tanks are there. But so is the Zerg. They've broken through. Stephano's on Terran soil. Ravagers are in front. He's going to want to fix that. They wander into the tank radius. Huge wave of corrosive vials going off. Oh, 1 tank gone. That barracks has to land to complete the wall off. Oh no, Zerg is in! Zerg is in! Special's army supply is dropping like a stone. Corrosive vials everywhere. The reinforcing tanks are going to be overrun. Special's SCV's coming in for the group hug. He needs to hurry. Group hug, group hug. No hugs for you. The 3rd is completely overrun. Only the Banshees remain. Terran lifts off, and Zerg owns the ramp. Stephano's going to chew up all those supply depots, but it doesn't look like Special's going to miss them. Maxing out is not his problem. Right now he needs to find a way to stay alive till his next birthday. Stephano's taking the momentum to the natural. He sees the wall off. This time it's up. Roaches in front to tank. And I mean that literally because Special has tanks at his natural. The SCV's trying to keep that wall alive, but supply depots cannot dodge a corrosive vial. There's an opening, and the lead roaches muscle inside. They stream in. Even the Queens are marching on the natural. Special has 1 tank with terrific placement on the high ground. Can he be a hero tank? He's using his lifted command center to try to protect the one on his ramp. Oh, but the Overlords give sight on the high ground, and the tanks are gone. The natural looks to be overrun too. He's going to have to pull back, and it's GG! Stephano wins! Special taps out and yields game 1. What a potent timing attack out of our Zerg player. Okay, so just maybe some quick thoughts on that before we get to game 2, because I know I really want to get to game 2. But this might be my love for Special kind of causing me to have a super bias here, but I wonder if in that final Hellbat push, when the drones are escaping to the right hand side If Special just gets one more round of fire on those guys, and he incinerates a huge pack of them as he was trying to do, if he pulls that off, maybe we're looking at a different game. Maybe this wasn't quite the blowout, and maybe it all just turned out on one micro moment. I mean, so many of those drones were deep in the red. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Maybe I'm just trying to overhype this thing, and really we need to get going to Game 2. So Game 2 it is. Stephano's up 1. Special's facing elimination. He has to win this next one. But the man who needs just one more win to take this home is Stephano! But he'll have to get past our Terran player, currently ranked 11th in the world. He is Special! I should add that the internet currently has Stephano ranked 64th, which is insanely impressive if you consider the guy's like semi-retired. A longtime vet, Stephano has generated over $300,000 in prize money. Special's getting pretty close to that, but he's not there yet. But rather than count their victorious coins, I'm looking to see if anybody's going to mix up their build order. And so far it looks like Stephano is going with a hatch first once again. Special's also going barracks to gas. So far nothing has changed. No early shenanigans, no early scouts. In between rounds we had the drones and SCVs tested for performance enhancing substances, and they all came out clean. There's that first gas for Zerg, and if he's following the identical build from last game, there should be our pool. Apart from swapping starting corners on the map, this is pretty much the same game. Are we about to see a Reaper produced at that barracks? Yes, we are. Which means Special's queuing up money for his expansion at his natural, but we also have an SCV heading out. What is he up to? He's making a beeline for the Zerg base. There is an Overlord in his path. Is he going to spot the SCV? Or is he heading north? Switch over to Zerg vision here and see what we can see. Yeah, he's going to spot that. Stephano's Overlords are sort of going more northerly than they are westerly, as opposed to making an immediate beeline for the Terran base. Forget that, we got ourselves a hatch block attempt. These guys know each other's timings exactly. Special is delaying Stephano's third. He's going to need a second drone to chase off that SCV. Special fights until he's down to 5 hit points, and then he escapes. And then he's going to tag off with the Reaper so that the Reaper can continue to harass. Oh, that is so annoying. There are no queens to deal with that Reaper yet. Only lings. 2 are in production and will pop soon, but microing slow motion lings against a Reaper is not fun. It's a kiting Christmas and he gets the first blood. Finally that queen is here to put that Reaper in a timeout. That's enough of that, young man. You did know that all queens speak with an English accent, right? Just probably with a much better one than mine. Meanwhile, Stephano gets his ling speed underway, while Special's Reaper wants to see if he can lure the queen off of the creep. Oh, there is the barracks and factory doing the old reactor switch. But Special doesn't actually have the money to make 2 reactored Hellions at the moment, so it looks like he's gonna go for just 1 to start. Don't worry, I am confident it is the first of many. I will just have to deal psychologically with there being an uneven number. Don't worry, I have strong coping skills. Oh, Overlord trying to come in to see what he can learn, but there's a Marine already there to chase him out. But the Overlord will survive and be able to make another attempt at some point in the future, I imagine. The Reaper is now being zoned out by the Queens. There's our double reactored Hellion production. While that's underway, it looks like Special is going to send the Hellions he does have over to the Zerg base. They're going to link up with the Reaper, yes. And they will try a mini incursion here, perhaps going for the third, but the door is shut, so Special works side to side, see if he can take advantage of the slower queen speed. It looks like he'll settle for picking off a creep tumor. No, he won't, because the queens are there to drive them off. Go queen power. And this is the moment when ling speed finishes up. which Stephano uses as an opportunity to try to run a Ling in and see what he can find. Fiery death, that's what he finds, because there's 2 Hellions right there. Oh, the Overlord's going back in. Stephano really needs to see the Terran tech structures. Will he see the add-on on that starport? Yes, just before he dies. Oh, mind games. Right after the Overlord dies, Special starts up a battle cruiser. Runs a Ling over to check the third. He knows he needs confirmation. There is no third there. Where'd the money go? Oh, the game sense on these guys is outstanding. Zerg's building a spore at each of his 3 bases. Maybe he's thinking Banshees, but he knows air is coming. So is this large Hellion incursion. Oh, Ling barbecue! Zerg tries to drive him off with a slow Baneling, and that dies too. It takes a conglomerate of 3 queens to drive them out. What do you call a group of queens? A cluster, a hatch? Probably not a conglomerate. Well, whatever it's called, Stephano's decided it needs to get bigger. He's adding 2 more queens. Which is a good idea, because those Hellions are coming right back again. But it's an ambush by queens! A queen bush! Hellions swing around the other side. They grab a tumor. Special drops a scan. And he goes for even more tumors. Queens fight back as the Roach Warren begins. Oh, battle cruiser ready! And it immediately warps right over the natural! Those drones have to be pulled now! Laser fire erupts! A queen and a spore are there, but that thing's got 550 hit points with armor 3. The battle cruiser pursues the fleeing drones all the way to the main. Stephano tries to save one by turning it into a spore, and then cancels it. The battle cruiser's down to half with 4 kills. Make that 5. Hold a second. Oh! Special tried a simultaneous attack on the third, but was met by Banelings. His Hellions evaporated, and the Speedlings will try to chase off the rest of them. The operative word being try, because they may be speedy, but they still burn. But there really isn't much left of that Hellion force, and the battle cruiser is forced to turn back deep in the red. No, Special's not calling it quits. He's going back in with his Hellions anyway. He's going to take a wide circle around to the third and see what he can get done. And he'll be reinforced by 2 more. Oh! It's a Hellbat transformation. He's going after that third. There's no immediate defense available. Will it be a kill or cancel? That base is going down. Oh, it's a cancel at the last moment. That cancellation is important for Special. And holy smokes, the battlecruiser has gone back again, even though it's deep in the red. Special is going to squeeze everything he can out of this force. It's a simultaneous north-south attack. The defense is in the hands of the queens. Stephano would love to mop up that cruiser. Oh, it warps away with 25 hit points left. But Hellions can't warp, and a Ling wraparound means they're never going to get to go home. Is that battlecruiser going out again? Goodness, man, it's got 25 hit points. Special's already got a fresh one, 2/3 across the map. Right now, it's a strange state of affairs. Zerg is actually up army, but down workers. Special brings his fresh battlecruiser to bear on the queens. They need to transfuse each other if they're going to stay alive. The roaches come by, but they're not going to be able to help. Stephano is hitting all his transfusions. He's only lost a single queen, and that fresh battlecruiser is not so fresh. It has to get out of there. Meanwhile, Special's repaired his first battlecruiser, which means he's got an SCV pit crew all ready to go to patch up the second battlecruiser. He's going to undo the hard work of all those queens in just a few seconds. Looks like those roaches gave some thought to pushing out, but thought better of it. Looks like he's going to rally at his 5th again. Oh, he had to kill his own creep tumor in order to get a hatch down. I can't judge. We've all been there. Of course, when I do it, it throws me off and costs me the game. Special has caught up on Army, and he's got more minerals flowing in right now. He's also got this thing called a Yamato cannon, which is just finished up. His 2 battlecruisers join forces, and they break north, while the Terran diversion force is headed straight to the heart of the Zerg base. Scans go down, creep tumors evaporate. Here come the roaches. Hellions take a shot at the hatchery, but they're going to need to get out of there. Not only do they get to live that way, they get to drag Stephano out of position, which could be material because Special's battlecruiser force is now up to 3 strong, and they're looking at that north base. It's going to take a lot more than a single spore to stop this fleet, especially since for some weird reason there's a single Marine leading them in. Hey guys, this way! The battle cruisers cut the Marine loose and instead start tearing up the drone line. Oh, but Stephano's got the transfuses on the Spore. He keeps it alive so it does more damage. And now he's going to work on the cruisers, focusing the first one down. Special pulls it out, but Stephano's keeping the Queens alive with multiple transfuses. There's a Roach Ravager counterattack. Oh, and a battle cruiser goes down. Special warps back home to defend. Ravager launches a corrosive bile, but he takes one look at the tank line and he pulls back. 9 drones died in the battle cruiser attack, and that means Special has taken a slight edge in both workers and army. Stephano will, though, take a lead in upgrades. He's also going to try to get the gases at his 5th up and running. This is going to be a tricky spot for him because that base is very open. Special's just about maxed. He's going to send in his mech force and see what it can do with his blue flame Hellions and Cyclones with the damage upgrade. Scan goes down. Stephano looks happy to defend on creep with Terran's force divided. He forces it back. Special subdivides his force again. A high-speed commando unit beelines for the north. 2 Queens and a Spore is all Stephano has to defend. That ain't no Spore, that's a Spine. And the Spine Crawler's ripping everybody up. So are the Ravagers, and that is a short offensive. And just like that, Stephano has almost caught up. His 5th base has survived, and his mineral and gas production is almost as good as the Terrans. Special knows he needs that 5th base dead. He swings his battle cruiser fleet south. Meanwhile, it looks like he's going to try his mech invasion again, only this time he's bringing up the tanks behind it. Special has remaxed and he aims to use it. Hellions and Cyclones are trying to kite those speed banelings. The siege tanks are leapfrogging forward. If they get positioned on that 5th base, Zerg is going to be in trouble. Zerg is using the corrosive biles to slow the Terran's approach, but he is getting pushed back. Special, advancing onto the creep. The 5th base is in range of the Terran Vanguard. Now's not the time for mining. Those drones need to evacuate or join the fight. The Queens are transfusing the hatch to keep it alive, but the Cyclones are just locked on. The 5th goes down, and the drones grab their gas and get out of there. Oh, the battle cruisers have just linked up with Terran's mech force. Ravagers alone cannot deal with Special's composition, but he's gonna try. He pushes forward, Zerg pushing forward and melts. Zerg drops in supply as he hits that tank line. But the Corruptors arrive to reinforce. They chase off the battle cruisers. They have to warp home. The Terran is forced to retreat back to take a position on the ramp. But Special remains camped over Stephano's 5th base. Stephano is losing the resource gathering war, and that will not be sustainable. Special is going to try to push his advantage by venturing onto the creep with his speedsters. Zerg is there. The Lings chase him off. The line is drawn here. Oh, but they're rear guard tanks again. Those Ravagers have to pull back. They leave a couple corrosive biles as parting gifts, and Special loses his low ground tanks. Meanwhile, Special expands behind this. He takes it forth with double gas. Stephano is stockpiling. He's got a lot of gas built up. Now is the moment he's going to try to evolve in some Broodlords. He's picked what he hopes is a safe spot to evolve them in. Meanwhile, that new command center is going to turn into a fortress. Special knows if he can mine from there unimpeded, he will run away with the resource war. Stephano knows it too. He's going to try to slip in some banelings, but the battle cruisers are there. We've got ourselves a war on 2 fronts now. Special's trying to pierce the heart, while Stephano tries to slow down that 4th. But it's going to get even harder once those battle cruisers get their ship weapons upgrade. Somehow, Stephano's managed to keep himself even on workers, but he's down 30 on army. The Terran just keeps remaxing and he's showing signs of building a bank. Will the Broodlords be the answer Stephano needs? Whoa, we might be finding out soon because Special is pushing out with a huge combined arms army. That is a huge battle cruiser fleet. The Terran is inching forward at battle cruiser speed. He finds the Ravagers and Lings and begins to blast away. A huge volley of corrosive biles turn the battle cruisers aside. He's just going to swing even deeper into the Zerg base. Stephano is now a merchant in the business of buying time as he looks to find the best engagement he can. Special's dropping scans. He knows the Zerg's got more army. He's found the Corruptors and Broods who are trying to pull back. But that is what Yamato Cannon is for. Oh, those expensive Broodlords are getting blasted out of the sky. And that leaves the Zerg hatch undefended. Those drones are going to be forfeit. Stephano branches off part of his army looking to see if he can counter. The drones have been pulled behind the mineral line. They burrow, making themselves annoyingly difficult to get at. But Special drops a scan. There will be no survivors. 23 drones dead. Stephano's economy is rocked. The counterattack arrives. Huge battlecruiser warp in to defend. Oh my goodness. The last of Stephano's Ravagers are on the run. But running up to the Terran fortress is no place to escape. They get caught on the missile turret. The last three threw up corrosive files trying to recover their retreat. The battlecruisers pursue them relentlessly. And now there are only two. And they run into the path of waiting tanks. GG! Stephano taps out. Special ties up the series. We're going to a Game 3. But as much as I want to race to Game 3, I would be remiss if I didn't do a quick commentary. What stood out for me the most in this game was the transfuse micro on Stephano's queens. It was insane. I know he lost the game, but the micro was terrific. Stephano was transfusing like an anesthesiologist on Grey's Anatomy during a 20-car pileup with an exploded commuter train. These queens were going toe-to-toe with battlecruisers far longer than they had any business doing so. I don't know what his EPM was, but it's definitely going to qualify as a certified micro moment. Ultimately, it still wasn't enough, and I think we have to accept queens just aren't enough to take down battlecruisers by themselves. Really, you need to add in hydras or corruptors or perhaps infestors, something. But Stephano is a boss for trying, and I suspect it's not all that simple. If Stephano tries to add new tech, Special will take advantage with the timing or punish him in the late game when his economy has suffered from the investment. But such is the life of a Zerg player in TVZ. Enough carrying on, let's get to Game 3. And settle this once and for all. This is a best of 3. Our players are tied, and so it's winner take all in a final game starting now. He tied it up. He has the momentum. He is the Hellion Horror. He is Special! And he's sending out an SCV earlier than expected. What is he up to? Oh, never mind. He's just setting up for a future wall off at his natural. His opponent, the transfusing tornado, Stephano! Unless one of these players is going to surprise me, I think we figured out their initial build orders. Do we have a fast expand for Zerg with an extra hatch? The drone goes out. The minerals queue up to 300. And yes, we do. And then we would have a barracks and a gas for the Terran. Yes, we do. Which means we will momentarily have a Zerg gas and a pool. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. Ah, there's our gas. And there's our pool. No differentiation yet. If everything continues, we should see Reaper expand coming out of our Terran player. It's been working pretty good for him. What I'll be looking for is to see if we get an adjustment out of Stephano. Is he going to change up the way he responds to Special's air harassment? There's our trusty satellite dish coming up. Special almost has the 400 minerals for the expansion, or I should say he did because he just spent them all, and his natural will soon have a trusty new command center. Now the SCV that built the barracks ran off, so he might be going for another hatch block attempt on Stephano's third. He shows up at the natural, checks the timing, but he's gonna find the third empty. He's gotten there first. He's gonna do some flossing dance as he makes himself annoying and blocks off the hatch drop location. Stephano is indeed queuing up the minerals and sending out the drone, but he's going the other way. He goes to a different location. Oh, but the Reaper's out. The drone runs for the geyser and turns into an extractor, saving his life. Hatch is denied. Or is it? The SCV took off, and another drone slips in. The SCV abandoned his post. Somebody fire that worker. Dude, you had one job. One job. Actually, SCVs have a ton of jobs. They were the most diverse units in the game. Lings try to stop the Reaper, but they have to pull back. If you want something done right, you gotta find a queen to do it. But a second Reaper shows up, and they're gonna make the queen's life miserable. We may have had a same game for the first minute, but no longer. This game has its own character very quickly. Poor Stephano, how many times does he have to rebuild that extractor? He has to keep building it so it doesn't complete. Roach Warren goes down for the Zerg. Oh, and then that got cancelled. Stephano might have just changed his mind, but I think that was actually mind games. He wanted those Reapers to see the Roach Warren. That way Special will be concerned about the timing attack that he lost to in Game 1. Whereas in actuality, it looks so far like Stephano's sticking to an econ build. I don't know if Special's falling for it, though. He did get his Reapers to get a confirmation on that third base. I don't think Stephano did enough to sell it, and in the meantime, Special's gone ahead with his starport. And surprise, surprise, Hellions, which are now on the way and streaming for the Zerg base. They link up with the Reapers. I keep getting wigged out by the baby Broodlords. My conscious mind knows they're just a harmless, colorful map feature to enhance the game lore, but my subconscious mind is demanding immediate production of Vikings. The Terran strike force takes a swing around to the third, but finds it empty, except for the Queen Bush. They'll pull back. Well, we see a tech lab going up on that starport, and a Viking's already popped out of it. It's going after the Overlord that's camped out at Special's base. And I believe we're gonna see our first blood. Well, that was a switch up. I thought for sure it was going to be Banshees or Battlecruisers again. Special keeps adding Hellions to his strike force. He's already showed he has the ability to outdeke those queens. Stephano can't take his eye off them for a second, which means this Viking is going to be able to get some serious Overlord hunting in. Nice knowing you, Overlord. Oh, the queens are coming in for the save. Can they chase off the Viking? Oh, of course. It's Stephano. There's a transfuse. But the Viking is the decoy. The strike force is going in now that the queens are out of position. The Hellions burn up the Lings, but they want drones. Oh, Stephano is building Evo chambers to block the Hellions out from the mineral lines. I love this guy. He did it again. Haha, it's death by Sim City, you invaders. Oh, he might have canceled too soon. The Hellions are going in for the barbecue. The queens are there. What will he get? 9 drones down. But 8 Hellions went in. As bad as it looked, Zerg is only down 2 workers. Make that up 1. Oh, Battlecruiser's almost built. Zerg isn't going to have anything but queens and spores again. But I guess what you could argue, since Zerg is about to go 4 bases to 2 here, Stephano's got the old school method of defense. Just get really, really big. Hey, it's a legitimate strat. Oh, the Viking has landed in the Zerg main, and the Battlecruiser's warping in. There's only a single queen and a spore, but the drones are actually chasing off that landed Viking. Lings arrive. They finish it off. Zerg's only lost 4 drones so far. I thought this was going to be so much worse. The Battlecruiser swings back. He's not done. But the queens are here now. Go away or we will transfuse ourselves for the rest of our lives. Lings are streaming out for a counterattack. Oh, but bad timing. They meet the Hellions. Talk about meeting the wrong unit at the wrong time. The Lings got to run back to the creep, and the Hellions are going to push in. The queens are all busy zoning out that Battlecruiser. Stephano badly wants a teleportation upgrade for his queens. Or maybe flame retardant for his poor Lings. 2 drones die, bringing the death count up to 17. Make that 19. The queens are here. They're driving off the Hellions. Once again, I thought that was going to go a lot worse than it did. Oh, bad pathing on one poor Hellion, and his life is over. So in sympathy, his 3 brothers decide to run back in, and they will die. Meanwhile, Zerg's double Evo chambers have finished their 1-1 upgrades, and he's finally getting the Roach Warren for real. Whereas Terran is going to fly over to his 3rd, and he's used his SCVs to mine a path to it. Special flies out his barracks, the universal sign for, hey, I'm going mech, which is absolutely the case because he's going for 3 factories. A scouting Ling tries to inspect the front door but gets burned up for his troubles, and then another Ling scout goes around the back door and finds the 3rd, but the SCVs take a break and deal with him. Meanwhile, Special's original Battlecruiser harasses the south, and a fresh one warps in at the north. An emergency drone pull saves the mineral line. Only the gas drones lose their lives, and the exasperated queens show up to defend. The queens have now split their forces so they can respond to the battlecruiser on each side. But Special is relentless. He's maneuvering around trying to find the hole that he wants. Spores are there. Stephano actually only has 3 spores, but it feels like so many more. Oh, the Yamato cannon is online. Queen annihilated. The slow-moving cavalry's arrived, and the battlecruiser warps away with only 70 hit points. Whoa. Oh, apparently even pros make building placement errors. Special realigns his 4th. The Terran mobility force now has Hellions and Cyclones, but Zerg is now massing the Roaches. The Roach count is 14 with 2 Ravagers, and Roach speed is about to finish. Oh, Terran drops a scan. I think he was just hunting tumors, but it let him see up the ramp. Otherwise, he might have run straight up into that Zerg force. I never know what's luck and what's experience, but I do know that Special needs tanks. This is the first time Stephano's crossing the halfway mark with anything more than a scouting ling. Stephano says, I don't need tanks, I got battle cruisers. Zerg supply is dropping. Meanwhile, a Blue Flame Hellion snuck in and carved up a huge swath of drones. Stephano's offensive is incredibly short-lived as he realizes he just has to have air support. In Game 1 he marched up his queens, but he can't really do that here as he doesn't have the creep spread yet. That barracks has been like camping out the whole game, and Stephano doesn't even care. He's just been too busy. Oh, it's time for the battlecruiser pit stop. It's always so weird. The SCVs are like, let's just pretend to fix things on the ground, and then somehow miraculously the battlecruisers get up to full health. Oh, we're looking at another Cyclone Hellion incursion here. Stephano's up on army supply, but Terran's got way better economy. Stephano would just love to crush that army while it doesn't have battlecruiser or tank support. It just might give him the window he needs. But not a big window. Special's pulling in so much money, he can rebuild very quickly. I'm getting another calm before the storm vibe here. Special's looking to build structures outside of his 4th. He'll send in his forces for another poke to keep the Zerg busy. Scan goes down, and that answers my question. Special plants a scan there so he can spy on the ramp and hit the creep tumors. Oh, a volley of Yamatos going off! Stephano sees the battlecruisers are out of position. He's racing for the Terran base. Special's pulling his mech back to defend, but the battlecruisers seem to be staying to do damage. We're very close in army supply. We could get a big battle here. Zerg looking to get a concave on Terran's 4th. Super wealthy. Special's building an entire city of command centers. Stephano's gonna get the Banelings. And he's gonna swing a second force around to the other side. Special sees it with a scan. He immediately calls up his SCVs to build a back wall. Reapers morphing in. Back home, drones are dying. Stephano needs this to work. Huge multi-prong offensive coming up. Lings have breached the 3rd. SCVs are pulled. The tanks are there. The Banelings and Roaches begin their charge. The Forsters and tanks are going splash, splash, splash. Zerg reaches the back door, but the wall is closed. There's just a huge platoon of tanks doing splash damage. They have to pull back. The Zerg army is expended. Stephano taps out. Special wins the best of 3, 2 games to 1. He's your winner. Whew. Well, when they say Special wins with relentless offense, they weren't kidding. The red flashes on the minimap were suspiciously on Stephano's side all game long. But it was the defense at the end that really got me stoked here. The game sort of ended before we really got a chance to look at it. So can we just really quickly examine a quick freeze frame of that? This is what I want. So we can see Stephano's got a force here on the left side, but he's also set up a flank on the other side, Reavers, Roaches, and Banes. Your standard mid-tier base-killing stuff. There's also a smaller force of Lings causing chaos at the 3rd, but let's not worry about that for the moment. But Special has got buildings to answer everything. He's got these giant hit point vats here on the left side. Some crazy people call them command centers and actually use them to mine. And then he's walling off his backside on the fly. So if they want to attack, the Roaches and Banes have to make it through this winding maze, and they have to soak up tank fire the entire time they're doing it. I feel like I'm watching a World War I movie where I'm like, stay in the trench! Don't get out of the trench! As soon as they come in, they're just going to get hammered. And they've got so far to go before they can even attack. This is an entrenched position. What a fantastic series this was, and if you loved it as much as I did, don't be afraid to tell somebody, share that StarCraft love. Don't be that guy who lets his friends miss out. So from my base to yours, Zug's weighing out. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Of course, you could always season upgrade and subscribe to Zug Zang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zug's weighing out.